Hey, go ahead. It's this way. You twist it back this way.
How you doing, man?
Dude, this is the first time I've seen a sport bike up here at all.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's a lot more of them out here. There are. Yes, yeah, there's not too often.
That's the 24 ZX10?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, hers is a 24-650. We bought them basically at the same time. Probably within like a 2 days apart.
Not bad. Yeah, this is
Geez, I haven't seen this one yet. This is 23? 24?
24 6R.
Okay.
Yeah. It's nice. I like it.
Yeah, oh yeah, they're really nice. I haven't seen one yet.
Yeah, it's just a little brother to that, not quite as fast. Yeah.
Somewhat.
I'm getting ready to drive 3 hours on it.
Where are you going?
So that should be fun. Yeah.
It's really fun, especially on the interstate. It's kind of a windy day today too.
Yeah. But all right, dog.
Yeah, have fun.
You too, man.
Be safe.
Be safe. What an embarrassment. What an embarrassment. All right, you guys. So as you can see, we're currently approaching I-10. About to get on the I-10 and head east, and then we're going to get on I-75 and head south. We're headed towards the Orlando area. And that's because we're doing a road trip. All right? I'm coming from Georgia, so I've already made this road trip once, and I decided to make this road trip once for one good reason. All right? I wanted to get a feel for it, and I wanted to have a little bit of stuff to talk about while I'm actually doing the road trip back. All right? So I know it's going to be a little bit windy, but bear with me, all right? Bear with me on how windy it's going to be. But I wanted to talk about the ZX6R or Super Sports a little bit in general, and if they're good for doing these long trips. This is going to be about a 4-hour ride for me. So, are they going to be good for long trips? Are they going to be, look, I'll just cut to the chase, all right? A lot of people will say that Super Sports, they're not good for long distance riding, and a lot of people will say that because of the aggressive riding position and the posture that it'll put you in. All right, but you can see here right now my elbow is bent. You can see that I'm kind of sitting upright. I'm going about 75 miles an hour on the interstate, and I'm not having too much trouble. The wind pressing against my chest currently is kind of helping to support my body whenever I'm going about this speed, right? Now, I won't lie to you, all right? I did do about, a 4-hour ride previously before shooting this video, and I got the full experience. Now, this, in the beginning, I would probably say for about the first hour of the road trip, it's very deceiving, and I say that because you think that there's not a lot of complications that you're feeling in the moment, and that it'll be like that the whole trip. No, that's flat out not true. All right, if you're having like an hour-long trip on this bike, I can suspect that you're probably going to be okay. But if it's anything more than an hour, you're getting into the 2-hour area, then it's going to be a little bit different on top of, the 1 hour. All right, so if you're traveling 2 hours, you're going to start getting, for me, I started experiencing a little bit of aching, not really in my back or anything like that, but mainly from my hamstring on the right side and my foot on the right side, as well as that, my shoulders from carrying this backpack, they were aching a little bit, but it wasn't anything crazy. And I was like, all right, if it just aches a little bit until I get there, 2 more hours to go, then, it should be fine, And I will say, around the hour 3 mark, it definitely was a lot more similar to the 2-hour mark, just a little bit more intense. So, my right hamstring was burning a little bit by that point, and I was having to either stand up and just stretch out real quick like that, or kind of throw my leg off to the side like that and just stretch it out a little bit. And, that's a little bit uncomfortable. All right, it's starting to get to that point where I'm thinking to myself, I don't want to be on this bike much longer. All right, and that's after 3 hours. And to be fair, 3 hours is solid on a super sport. And I will say the ZX6R, this one in particular, the riding posture is a little bit more relaxed than some of the other super sports. And so that could be why, around 3 hours, for me, I was still only having, slight aches and pains and, a burning in the hamstring from being stretched out on this pegs for so long. You know what I'm saying? So whenever we're approaching the 4-hour mark, this is where it started to get a little bit uncomfortable, and I was ready to get there. Now, obviously, I have a destination that's about 4 hours away, so that could be tied into it. But I will say that after that 4-hour mark, I still had about 30 minutes left to go, because it was about a 4-hour and 30-minute drive. And just have to get around that truck real quick. He's pulling over to assist that car. But that last 30 minutes, I will say, I started to notice that the seat may not be as comfortable as I would like it to be. And that's mainly because my rear end started to hurt, all right? And aside from that, it was just the other pains, but just a little bit more intensified. I didn't really notice too much pain in my neck from the wind. I didn't notice too much pain in my back from, leaning over like this or anything like that. And that could be because, I am a little bit younger. So I will say there's a chance that my body is going to take that type of abuse a little bit better than, if you were a little bit older and maybe your body has been through more and it's a little bit more worn down. So depending on the person, you definitely may have a little bit more issues, on a 4.5-hour ride than I might. But I will say, I think it holds true whenever people say that super sports are not the best for these long distance drives. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't do it, because I did it. I mean, you could clearly do it. I'm doing it right now on camera. But what I would say is that the reason why they're not the best is because you have, motorcycles like Harley Davidsons. You have sport touring bikes. There's so many bikes out there where if you're going to be primarily driving them for long distance drives or doing a lot of traveling on them, or maybe even just traveling in the inner city, you know what I'm saying? There's going to be motorcycles that are better tailored towards that type of use case than super sports. Now, don't get me wrong, super sports are really cool, they're really fun, and they go zoom zoom, but just with these long distance drives, they're not the best. And I think I realized that on this drive. Now, does that change my opinion of the ZX6R? Only a little bit. I still love this motorcycle. I still completely love this motorcycle in all of its entirety. But I would say that the only thing that has really changed is how long I think I can ride this bike. Before, I thought that I could possibly ride this bike all day. Now, I'm starting to realize that I could probably get a half a day out of this bike before I want to sit down, maybe take a break, or park at a gas station, and then walk around for a little bit, and just take a break, and then come back to it. Because I will say, after that 4-hour drive, all it took was me getting off the bike at, whenever I got to where I was going. All it took was me getting off the bike and walking around for maybe all of 20 minutes. And then at that point, it felt like I was ready to go ride again. Now, of course, I think that's going to vary person to person, on your recovery time as far as like the athletic aspect of it. But all in all, I will say that yes, the ZX6R is not the best for these long distance drives. It's just not the best for the long distance drives. But you can still do it. Now, is it recommended? Probably not, right? These long distance drives, it's going to hurt your body at the end of the day. You're going to be a little bit sore, and you're going to be a little bit beat up by the end of it. Was it a blast, though? Yes, I enjoyed every last bit of it up until the last 30 minutes whenever my butt started to hurt, all right? That was the only time whenever it was a little bit uncomfortable. And aside from that, I enjoyed the entire ride, even though I had a little bit of an ache and a pain here and there. So, 100% yes. I would say that you can cross-country this bike. I would say, well, maybe not cross-country. I would say you could do long-distance trips on this bike. But you need to feel it out. Don't go out and try to do a 6-hour drive on a bike like this. I would say just feel it out. Just try to ride for maybe 2 hours straight one day, and then 3 hours or 4 hours, and start to feel where your limit is, so that way if you're planning on doing a road trip on this bike, you can plan around that. So that way you're not wearing yourself out, and that's going to be a lot safer, not only for you, but for whoever you may be riding with as well. Because if you know roughly about how long that you can ride for on this type of bike, then you'll understand that, okay, around like 4 hours or so, I'm really gonna be tired. We'll probably have to, pick somewhere out to stop, maybe get some more gas, and just kind of chill out, and then get back on the road, all right? Now, another thing that I wanted to talk about is gas. Now, these super sport bikes, they're 4-cylinder bikes, and they're using a lot of gas, all right? And they don't have the biggest tanks to hold a giant, fuel capacity, which, is not the best if you're going to be doing long distance traveling. So in my 4 hour-ish to 4 hour and 30 minute drive, right around in there, I had to fill up. In total, it was about 4 times. I filled up once whenever I was getting on the interstate the first time on the way up here. I filled up a second time probably about an hour into the trip. A third time whenever I didn't necessarily need to fill up, to be honest, but I just knew that there wasn't going to be a gas station for a little bit, so I went ahead and filled up anyways. And then I had about a half a tank left whenever I got to where I was going, and then I went ahead and topped it off whenever I got off the interstate. So that way I would just have gas for the next day. So, all in all, gas mileage, obviously, I think, the motorcycle isn't going to be your best bet. It's no Toyota Prius, obviously. But I will say that it wasn't that bad in my eyes. I think this gas tank right here that I'm using is only about 2 gallons, maybe 2.5. And so I think that's pretty solid. 2 gallons per an hour is about what it seemed like I was consuming. And I will be honest with you, on the way up here, I wasn't utilizing the eco mode. So on the ZX6R, they have this little eco light that pops on that lets you know that you're consuming fuel efficiently within that rev range in that gear. And that can help you preserve fuel so that way you can go longer distances. And I wasn't utilizing that because whenever you get higher into the rev range or you accelerate, that light immediately cuts off. And that's because it's using more fuel to accelerate the bike quicker, because you need fuel, air, and then you need spark. All right, and more fuel equals more kaboom, which equals more zoom zoom. All right, now to sum everything up, I'm just gonna say it short and sweet. I think that, yes, you can ride this bike on long distance drives. You could ride this bike all day if you wanted to. But you need to prepare for it. You can't just, have in your mind, if you're doing a road trip and you're trying to get to a destination, that you're not going to stop. Because I can guarantee that even, the most fit of riders that are, bulletproof bodies, eventually you're going to develop a little ache. You're going to have to get some gas anyways, because, you don't have a big gas tank on bikes like this. So you're going to need to stop, and you might as well, maybe grab something to eat, let your body rest for a little bit whenever you stop. But it is possible. Yes, you can long distance travel these bikes. And I would say, user caution advised, because even though you can, it's definitely not the most comfortable thing. All right. These bikes are designed for, the track. They're not designed to just sit here and be the most comfortable thing you've ever driven down the interstate. And keep that in mind, So, this is Rip It, signing out. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It's a little bit more of an informative one. But I enjoyed making it, and I drove 8 hours plus to do it. So, it's time for me to put in another 3 hours on the road, and I will get back to you guys in the next video. Alright, you guys have a good one.